Now, we like to use Joe's favorite language. For God's sakes, Joe, do something. For God's sakes, Joe, I have a question. Why didn't you and Barack Obama do something in 8 years to stop the violence in the city of Chicago, Obama's hometown? Why not, Joe? And for God's sake, Joe, why did you never one time, not one time, as VP for 8 years, mention a single child's name killed in Obama's hometown when you were vice president? For God's sakes, why? You never lifted a finger, Joe. Why? You know, save us the lectures, because you've been missing in action for all of these years.
I feel like Brett may have made this analogy first, but Fox News is kind of like a classic rock or oldie station. It's a genre that never changes and comes from a simpler time when Elvis successfully appropriated black culture. With Hannity as the disc jockey, when something like mass shootings or the Second Amendment or the Women's College World Series comes up, he plays the hits for his audience. The classics like black on black crime, or in this case, Chicago's gun violence, which is what I'm going to focus on today. Now, in its 2021 annual report on state gun laws, the Giffords Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence gave Illinois an A-. Of the states that ranked higher than Illinois, or were at least at their level, the 5 states surrounding Illinois, Iowa, Missouri, Kentucky, Wisconsin, and Indiana, more on the Hoosier State in a second, weren't one of them. 3 Fs, a C-, and a D- respectively. Also, according to the composite gun law strength by everytownresearch.org, the state of Illinois ranks 6. And this is reflected in its gun violence rate, which is better than 4 of those 5 states surrounding it that I mentioned earlier. Not only does the state of Illinois have some of the strictest gun laws, but there are no gun stores actually in Chicago. Most of the firearms confiscated by the police before or after they're used by Chicagoans come from its suburbs and the rest of Cook County, or from other states all around the country, especially Indiana. In fact, 3 of the top 10 sources for Chicago's firearms that end up in the Windy City streets come from Indiana. And since the Hannitys of the world default to Chicago so often, when this information about Chicago's gun violence is presented to his audience, they ask, why doesn't Indiana have the same problem as Chicago? Rhetorically, I might add, because they don't want to know the answer or want to look it up themselves. DJ Hannity plays what they want to hear. Confirmation bias. As I alluded to earlier, short answer, Indiana has a higher rate of violence than Illinois. Indianapolis has a worse homicide rate than Chicago, and in 2021, Indianapolis had a higher homicide rate than Chicago. And in the year 2020, Gary, Indiana had a worse homicide rate overall, plus Indianapolis and South Bend are trailing just behind Chicago. Similar rankings and order for gun homicide rates. With Hannity on the 1s and 3s, he ain't got no rhythm. He'll pretend like there's no difference in the tragic deaths of Chicago kids who died by gunfire at home or in the community during incidents with 1 offender and maybe 1 victim, to 19 kids being shot and killed by assault rifle at one time in a classroom, a place where they're supposed to be safe. So what did Obama and Biden need to do about Chicago? Those gun laws are working. The state surrounding Illinois is failing the Windy City. Looking at the numbers, I'm almost convinced that if every state had the same gun laws as Illinois, Chicago's gun violence wouldn't be as bad. For Rebel HQ, I'm Jeff Wiggins. My architect knows Japanese. For more from the Young Turks, stay right here. If you want to see content from yours truly, click on the hashtag below. I can also be found on all socials at He Gon' Be Alright. Thanks for watching.